So welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's Wednesday, it's just after lunch. There's been a lot of speculation and rumour this morning. Is it Graham Potter? Is it going to be Steve Cooper? Join me and Reedy for the next 15-20 minutes. We'll get your views, your comments in. It looks more like it's going to be Cooper than Potter. I'm pointing all over the place. Get your views in, get your comments in. Join us for a quick Fan Zone show live.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, and the Foxes Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. As ever, the debate has swung from one side to the other this morning. We want your views, we want your comments. People starting to report. We'll get comments on screen as we're going live, obviously. People are starting to say that Locks has put there in the comments, if you can get that on screen, saying that Sky are starting to report that Leicester City has struck a deal with Cooper. Locke says it's a dark day. We're going to get on to the debate in that. Paul Barradale says it's confirmed it's Cooper. Kian says, what an utter joke. Cooper is not a Premier League manager. Well, Kian, I'm going to disagree with you because he has been a Premier League manager and kept Forest up that season. So keep getting your views in, get your comments in. Reedy, let's just go back a couple of hours. Obviously, earlier today, everybody started to think that it's Graham Potter. If you can get that comment off screen, thanks, Scott. And it looked like it was Potter this morning. And then tweets were posted, tweets were deleted.
Yeah, obviously we saw Fabrizio this morning about 8 o'clock, basically announcing that they're going further talks with Leicester and like talking about backroom staff. And then you think it's all going well for Potter. And then about an hour after that, we see John Percy's tweeted saying that now Cooper's in advanced talks. It's like, how can two people be in advanced talks? I guess they could both be saying if one's not interested, you've still got a backup. But then again, it's like, out of the two, you probably would say Potter's the main man out of the two, for me anyway. And now we've kind of got the backup in a way.
We want your views, we want your comments. Obviously, everybody's passionate about who's going to be the next manager for Leicester. Again, nobody wanted Leicester particularly to change Enzo, but he went. And then, again, I think the bookies stopped taking bets on Potter this morning, didn't they? All the betting stopped.
Yeah, they did take it out for a while. And then after these two tweets I mentioned, both managers kept changing from favourite to not favourite to favourite again. And I think at the moment, Cooper is way higher favourites than Potter just because of how recent news is at the moment.
So again, if you're watching this live, get your views in, get your comments in. We are hearing literally as we're doing this live that it does sound like Leicester may have struck a deal with Steve Cooper, not Graham Potter. Again, from what I'm tipped the winks on, for what it's worth, is Potter potentially was offered the role last week and has been taking time to potentially consider it. Again, this is a bit of hearsay. Obviously, was, I think, waiting to see what sort of transfer budget we might have, how FFP was going to pan out, and, of course, this points deduction. And Graham Potter, I think, for me, would have been our first choice. For me, for you, for many people watching this, he would have been, if you'd have said swap Enzo for Potter, I think everybody would have been happy.
It is an upgrade, and as much as you probably would say Cooper might have been an upgrade because Enzo's never fully managed in the Premier League, he was out the bunch. Potter was probably the best one we were asking for. For me, because of the footballing reasons, how he plays, perfect for us. And again, the only other manager that would probably beat him for experience would be of Moyes. So going from Potter to Cooper, for me, is a massive downgrade.
Deepak Patel says there, Sky Sports are reporting Cooper has agreed to be our new manager. This seems to be breaking news as we're in here. Scott Chapman says they're going from Potter to Cooper, genuinely gutted. It is the roller coaster where at some point this morning, I think we were all going, wait, it's going to be Potter. We were preparing up to do a live video saying it's going to be Potter, Reader.
That's how weird it's been. Like, obviously we don't know what's happening at the Leicester ground or wherever it's happening, but from it being literally from Potter last night or even in this morning to going straight to Cooper, they must have had talks with Potter, like you said, must have been talking with Cooper as well, and basically gone, well, Potter doesn't seem interested enough to sign on the dotted line, so we're going to go with Cooper. And again, is it like a fall from grace, or is it like they wanted both of them equally and they've just chose one because the other one's not making a decision? I don't know.
It looks like Potter was an upgrade, like Wolves 1901 says there on YouTube. He says Potter was an upgrade. Cooper will be when we're relegated again. I think for most fans, Potter, I would hold Potter in higher regard than Enzo Maresca in the Premier League as a manager.
Definitely, because he's managed, as you see on the screen, he's managed Brighton, he's managed Chelsea, he's managed Swansea, obviously, when they're in the Championship, but he's obviously gone up the ranks. Whereas, again, for me, Cooper, as much as he has been at Forest in the Premier League, he was at Swansea, but you were saying about he won something with the England, and as I put on the screen, they're both from your under 16s, under 17s, which is a completely different level. For me, Potter's got a lot better record in the Premier League than Cooper.
I mean, Ryan Perridge says Potter was the club's first choice. This is what I'm hearing as well, Ryan. He was the first choice, but I think Potter has been stalling and the club has had enough and gone with Cooper. And probably quite rightly, Ryan. We have to get on with preparations for a pre-season, transfers coming in, points deductions, whatever is going to go on at Leicester. We need somebody in place. Obviously, we'd all want it to be the right man. We just need a manager now in there. Robert Dolman says Sky have reported too many issues with Potter, i.e. transfers. Again, the war chest is not going to be a very big war chest. Somebody's going to be looking into where the coffers are and going, there ain't a lot in here, and we've got still FFP issues, and we've got points deductions. It's a really interesting one. Ryan says this potential Cooper appointment stinks of a similar tone from when Everton appointed Benitez, and look how that went in there. Neil Birchenough says, I think the players would have a lot more respect for Potter. Paul Scarborough says, don't think Cooper is the right man for the job, but we've got to get on with it. Potter's stalling because he's really hesitant about his record in there.
Do you know what? The main consensus in this chat is the fact that everyone's disappointed we didn't get Potter over Cooper.
Listen, if you can take that comment off, Scott, thanks. I want to say now, if it's Cooper, I am actually okay with that. I am happy enough with Cooper because for me, Reedy, and this is what I want to say to everybody watching this, for me, if we can take that graphic off in the front, because I almost want to get rid of the Potter part of this, is Potter doesn't want it.
No.
If he was offered it. So it's like saying, I wish I had a Ferrari or I wish I had a Porsche. Well, sorry, you can't have one, Reedy. You can't have a Porsche.
I get what you mean. You can't always have what you want.
But maybe you got to say that Ford Focus or that BM, that's what we can afford, and that's who wants to come and work for us. So pointless the comments about Potter. If Potter was offered it, he's not took it. If he wasn't offered it or wasn't interested, you can't have Potter. So yeah, Scott Blankley says there, am I a Forest fan in disguise happy with Cooper? Listen, Scott, out of the names that are potentially going to take it, because if Potter isn't going to take it, then you can't consider him. You can't be saying I want Potter over Cooper, because if Potter doesn't want it,
no, I get what you don't want it, and obviously then it would make Cooper first choice.
So I'd rather have Cooper than Corberan. I'd rather have Cooper than most of the other managers.
I think for footballing reasons,
he's not my number one choice.
I think for footballing reasons, I would have had Corberan because of how he plays. But then I do know that this season is about staying up. So that means that probably Cooper is the better man. I saw Loxy's comment earlier saying that the fact is he apparently mentioned to Leicester that he promised to play fast counter-attacking football like we won when we won the league. That's what apparently Cooper promised Leicester. So maybe that's another reason why they've gone for him over Potter.
Trust me, I think once I spoke to some Forest fans yesterday who I know, relatives, who were only singing Cooper's praises. They say the fans really get on well with him.
A lot of my fans don't.
Develops the young players really well. But again, I come back to, I want a Ferrari. I'd like a Ferrari sat outside my office. I've not got one because I can't afford one. And nobody's offered me one at like a fraction of the price. And, so it doesn't matter.
But the fact is I
can't have that. So I'll drive my Vauxhall Zafira because it works. And
here's the question, though. Does Cooper want it? Or is it because he's second choice and the first choice didn't want it?
I would think Steve Cooper does want to be Leicester manager. He's not got a job at the moment. He's fairly local to us. I would think Cooper would. A lot of who fancies a newly promoted team with no money and point deduction? Yeah. You're limited. So
I get the whole point of you saying that if Potter don't want it, then we can't have him and we can't be disappointed in it because we didn't have him in the first place. I get that. But I feel like I just feel like maybe
it's hard.
There was someone else in the line of us other than just them two because now we know it's basically Cooper and that's it.
I know what Reedy's feeling and probably what a lot of people watch this feeling. It's like you woke up this morning and it was Christmas morning and somebody said, look under the Christmas tree, there's Graham Potter. He's yours. He's going to be Leicester manager.
You open the package.
Somebody tweeted and said, it's Graham Potter. And everybody goes, oh, Fabrizio never gets it wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's Potter. Well, it wasn't. There was no Graham Potter.
And then you open that package and it's Cooper.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like asking for a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. And
you get PlayStation 3.
Yeah. I've got this for the car. Maybe it is. I don't know. There's a lot of comments, Scott. Can you go back up a little bit to some of the comments? And we'll go through some of them one by one. Go up a little bit more if you can, because there's so many comments. I want to get them in there. Ryan LCFC3 says, even Moyes is a better candidate than Cooper, which isn't saying much. LCFC Gray says, I'll get behind the manager 110% in there.
I think it'd be a lot harder to get behind Cooper than Potter. I think if Potter came in, I feel like a lot more fans would give him the time to do what he has to do. Whereas if things don't work with Cooper in the first 10 games, I think there's going to be absolutely blasting stuff at him.
But look what you could have won. You could have had a Graham Potter. Well done. Oh, no, it didn't happen.
No, I know it didn't happen. What I'm saying is I don't think our fans will give Cooper the time that we would have.
I mean, Scott Chapman says that Cooper won't get much of a gracing period with the fans if it starts bad. It does feel like Benitez, Everton's in there. Locks then says points deduction, departing players, rising ticket prices, and now Steve Cooper. What do the club expect us to get excited for this season? We're not even talked about membership prices and the price of watching Leicester City next year. Not cheap. Neil Birchenough says in there, the key to all of this, if the players have to be on board with whoever is appointed, it's not going to work. Faze, for a start, won't want a manager with not much of a track record. Well, Enzo had only managed one club for 14 games, Neil. So I'm going to have to disagree with that on the basis of he worked with Enzo, who had basically managed nothing before coming to Leicester. Jane Pinson, Potter doesn't want the job. This is what we're hearing. What can you do in there? There's a comment below that one, which says, Nathan says, Cooper is the man. Let's get behind him. I agree. He's got the job to keep us up. We were all shocked at the appointment of Ranieri and look what he achieved in there. Locks says, Cooper, this is what I don't get. I
don't feel
why we're if Corberán had come in, I'd have said, look, I thought there was better men with better credentials, a better CV than Corberán, but I wouldn't be there. I'd be going, right, but this is we're all in a sticky situation.
I don't feel like I could get excited for Cooper football in a way. For me, again, Potter would have been, and I think Corberán, because of the style of play that Enzo was, for me, is a better style. But again, the whole point of view is the fact is we've got to stay out the season, and maybe Cooper could do that. Maybe we'll be all surprised. I don't know. Maybe his football works better for us than it did for Forest, because they obviously brought in 20, 30 players. It's a different story with every manager, but I just hope that he starts well, because I don't feel that.
I mean, Louis says there, no way Potter is going to that mess of a club. I'm not sure Louis is a Leicester fan or not, but I hear what you're saying. There'd be a lot of reasons for Graham Potter not to fancy coming to Leicester. Andy Dowling said, Cooper given the job. That's higher up, Scott. Andy says, Cooper given the job, as obviously Potter didn't want the job. This is what we're hearing in here.
But that's why he says about Cooper given the job. It's like, because Potter don't want it, I will give it you. It's like, I don't know, it feels like it's just that's a downgrade.
Well, we never had Potter. He didn't want it.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that he was our first choice, and because he didn't want it, it's like, yeah, you can have it then.
That's the way the world works, isn't it?
I guess.
What's the phrase? Beggars can't be choosers. I say I want a Ferrari, I want a Porsche.
No, I completely get the whole story about that, yeah.
You know, I want us to sign Mbappe. It's not going to happen.
I feel like you did. I feel like you did make
We've got Jamie Vardy. I'll take that.
I think the difference was you said that we all thought it was Potter this morning, and then it's completely changed, and now we're getting Cooper. It just feels like you were way up for one, and now it's just completely changed to a different person. So.
I mean, Mark Farragher there, I think he speaks for a lot of people there. He says, woke up to the news it was going to be Potter. Thought that was quite a good coup. I agree. We were talking this morning about 10, 11 o'clock in the office saying, if it is Potter, I'd have happily swapped Enzo for Potter all day long. I've told you, I wasn't the biggest fan of Enzo Ball, so I was quite happy with Graham Potter coming in. I even said this morning, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would rather have Graham Potter than Enzo Maresca in charge now. He goes, however, a bit underwhelmed by Cooper. I think Mark speaks for a lot of fans.
Even me, yeah.
However, we get behind him, I guess.
I guess we have to. I guess we do. As much as I'm not excited, I'm guessing we have to. We did that with Enzo when he first came in, so yeah.
Lorraine Max says Potter clearly doesn't want the job. Cooper, not my first choice, but given him a chance. I think Potter has been in for interviews. I'm told by somebody he was offered it. He hasn't confirmed and doesn't want it. Ryan Perridge goes on to say, Cooper wasn't my first choice, but if I was Cooper, I'd be more determined to prove I'm best for the job.
Maybe he's coming to the job to show that he can do what he did at Forest and keep a team up, even with a point deduction incoming as well.
Locke says here, Phil and Reedy. Again, we'll answer this, Locks. It's a pointless question.
Yes.
Because Enzo Maresca, who, Locks, I know you like, Reedy, you liked, whatever, walked away from our club. He didn't want to be at Leicester. Enzo Maresca left us a little bit up the Swanee, if you ask me, because he said sign Vestergaard, and then he's done one. He said cancel the tour in America, and he's done one. So, Enzo or Cooper? I don't know. It's a bit of a hypothetical question because, again, it's not a choice, Locks. We've got. That's like saying, again, do you want a Porsche or a Ferrari? Do you want a Porsche or a BMW 5 Series? It's not. It might not be a question. You can answer it, really, if you want.
It's Enzo, isn't it, for me? Again, people will say why, because Cooper's had more experience in the Prem, but...
No, I'd have probably gone with Enzo.
I think...
But I'd probably Potter over both of them.
I just don't...
if the question
was...
of course. If you're going to have a hypothetical question, would you have had Potter, Enzo or Cooper?
You said Potter, yeah.
I would have said Potter. But that wasn't the question.
So
I'd have gone Enzo.
One question
but
to
that's
ask...
not a question.
One question to ask everyone then before we do finish is the fact is, does anyone know... I don't know properly what sort of style does Cooper bring, because he's apparently promised fast counter-attacking football, but we don't know how he plays. He could play really defensive. We don't know.
Scott blankly, this is what I think Steve Cooper will bring. And I'm actually ready for it because I've just watched 2 or 3 years of Claude Puel. I've just watched 2 or 3 years of Brendan Rodgers. I've just watched 2 or 3 years of... Or, in fact, one year. He didn't even do a year, Enzo. Scott says, Cooper will install fight. I've not seen much fight over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Last year's, maybe.
No, I didn't see fight. I just saw the best players in the league do what they should do.
Okay.
and a dogged approach to the squad to see games out, something we need this season. I think that is what it is. And when we do win, when Steve Cooper is coming up to the cop going, yes, 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 like he does, you lot will be cheering it, and so will I. Because I think that's where we will be.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
You know, Andy Downing says, give Cooper a chance. We need to get ready for the start of the season. I agree. Phil Upton says we've got a Fiat 500 in a league of Ferraris.
True.
You may be true, Phil, but again, look at the position our club is in now. You know,
I'm not. I don't know.
You know,
thing is, I didn't expect.
If Potter says no, then you're down to Cooper or Corberan.
I didn't expect to get Potter. I said it was my first choice, but I didn't think we were going to go like a few weeks ago. So it's just annoying because like you said, it was like a Christmas present. You got given it basically on a plate, and now you said no, you're not having it. It's like
we didn't get given it. You just read somebody's tweet.
No, but you're basically saying
they don't always get it right.
It's basically there.
They don't always get it right.
No, but you're saying it's basically there for us to sign, and then it basically gets taken, not offers, but wiped off the table, and basically we've been left with a manager that could do well for us. I don't know. Then again, Potter might be even worse. You don't know. So.
Well, you cannot know what's not known in the future, isn't it? I think this season's going to be incredibly tough, whatever, because we're missing a lot of players. We've got to sign some players. We've got very little money to do it.
I think the one last thing I'm going to mention is I think when we get to that Forest game, if Cooper's in charge, we're going to get slated. I think we will, by all the Forest fans. Trying to point in.
I think
we'll get absolutely lambasted from it.
Probably our greatest ever captain who lifted the Premier League trophy and the FA Cup, a certain Mr. Wesley Morgan, was a red at one point. These things happen. Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, but if they beat us, then it could be a lot of stick on us.
Yeah, Scott Blankley is saying hypothetical to locks. Would you rather have Cooper or Rudkin in there? Keith then says, from Rodgers to Enzo to Cooper. I know we're in a mess financially, but mate, Cooper, really bad. Well, Keith, again, my question is, and you can answer this, anybody can answer this in the questions, is who would you have picked that would come? That's the question. Who would you have picked?
There wasn't many names like very highly.
No, there wasn't.
Odds on.
People keep saying Corberan. You say, Corberan plays nice football, blah, blah, blah. I say achieved nothing. The other thing is, he may have already been spoke to and he said, I'm going to stay at West Brom.
Maybe, yeah.
Because of the pickle you lot are in.
Maybe. Maybe Cooper's the only one that wanted it.
Yes, indeed. So I'm trying to read some of the comments before we necessarily put some of them on screen in there. Matt Greaves says there, and again, I've spoke to Forest. The Forest fans I've spoke to said they didn't want him to leave. Some of them said maybe he was a bit out of his depth at times with some of it was going. But then they also said he had a chairman who was buying loads of.
I was going to say on the plus side for
very, very good with young players
is the fact that he did literally have a completely new squad to deal with. Whereas we have a basis and a foundation already to either add new players in or bring players that we have in the club that's not been playing for a while to bring in.
And again, listen, I'm gonna be here and support. If it is Cooper, which it sounds like it is, I'm going to be there to support him all the way through. I always would do with any manager, but I actually quite think he might do all right. And again, the thing with Leicester Fan TV is you can watch this video in 6 months' time and you can say, Phil, you said he'd do quite all right. I think he will. And I think we need somebody who can bring the youngsters through. The Will Alvarez, Braybrook, even McAteer.
Yeah.
Is it Marcel? We've got 4 or 5 people.
I just don't think any of them are going to be that Premier League level yet.
You might be right, Reedy, but they might have to play because we haven't got enough other players. I think it might be that sort of
Maybe
season.
you bring some players back that were on loan last season.
Like
Victor Christiansen.
Well, he is back because nobody wants to buy him.
No, might be a good idea. Might keep him. If Wilfred Ndidi's going, then you might need to use someone like
Samara
instead of paying out.
I mean, Keith Cook says there, and again, this is the interesting thing. Keith says, I think Cooper spells relegation. Keith, I think whoever's manager is in there to avoid relegation this season, we have to set our perspectives as fans. To avoid relegation for me next season with whoever is in charge, it's like qualifying for Europe with a points deduction and financial issues.
Yeah, it is.
So anybody to avoid relegation next season would be a minor miracle.
Yeah.
Whether it was Potter, Cooper, Enzo, I think we'd all be, if we got to this time next year and we went, wow, we stayed up, I think we'd be really chuffed with any of them. I would like Van Persie, says Ben Cross in there, but that's my opinion. Not really seen Van Persie mentioned
I've never heard of that rumour.
Locke says, when was the last time we had a managerial appointment that brought this much negative reaction?
I know, I did say that.
I'd probably say Enzo last year, Locks. I think there was a big split when Enzo was appointed. Because he's got no real credentials.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say this time last year, Locks. I think it was 50-50 on what people thought of Enzo, and we all said, well, let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
And he did okay. Terry Payne says there it will be boring, but that's the price to stay up. Again, Terry, as points on the board. That's all we need.
I think that's the only reason.
If it's dogged defence, absorb the pressure, and pick it forward quick to Vardy.
I think that's the only reason I would be happy with Cooper. If we stay up, and even if it was boring to watch, then I'd take it. Just keep us up for this season. Well, as long as any manager that comes in, it probably is Cooper, but if anyone came in and we did stay up, I'd be like, fair play to them.
Mark Farragut says we were negative about Enzo and we were negative about Ranieri too. Both won trophies. I agree. You've got to get in there and
both ones, yeah. Both the managers that we were a bit disappointed with, yeah.
Listen, let's wrap it up there. I don't think it's 100% been confirmed yet. I think
unless it's on my phone out there, no, I don't think it is. I think we would have seen it in the chat if it did get announced anyway.
Sky are certainly reporting that it looks like it's been offered to Cooper and looks like he's going to take it. But hey, 4 hours ago, we were reading the same about Graham Potter. Things can change quickly. We'll go live again as and when we can see where it is. And let's just see what happens. Again, if it is Cooper, I'm going to say I'm quite looking forward to having him. Next season's a battle. Whatever we think, it's a backs against the wall battle. I don't particularly want to see passy football. I want to see battle and fight because that's the season we're in.
Yeah,
that's my view. Thanks for all your views. Thanks, Reedy, for his. We don't agree on much.
Cooper in. That was hard to say.
Wherever it is, we've got to stand there and cheer. We'll see you all at the next show. If we're not live before, Lox is live on Thursday. And, of course, Jamie's live on the Aftermath. And I'll be live on Monday at 7:30. Never a dull ride. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, The Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.